Let's make sure my microphone's working today. Looks like it is. So that's always good. Let's pop this up in the background. Get some of my screens organized here. That should be good. All right. Kick this over here. All right. That looks good for today. Actually, let me... Yeah, that's probably good. All right, so what are we working on today? I am cleaning up. We did a deploy yesterday of this tool called Werewolf. And as we were kind of deploying this tool out in the home lab, we were deciding yesterday whether we were going to move everything over to it or just build things new. So where we got to yesterday and where we kind of got by the end of it was I was copying the configs over, and then we were going to check what's actually there. So let's do a couple of things real quick. Let's do a copy in here of the nodes.conf, and we're going to copy it to an original file for today. So nodes.conf.orig, and we'll even give it the date plus %f, and what that, not like that, that. And if we do an ls-l now in the directory, we'll see that that's the file we just made for today. So that's the original one that was on the server. Now we're going to move this copy one into place. So we're going to copy nodes.conf.copy over nodes.conf. Oh, you know what? Yeah, that's fine for now. Yep, we'll override it. And then let's do a diff real quick. Before we do this, we're going to do the same process here. Copy werewolf.conf over into werewolf.orig.date plus %f. Right, so that'll be there. But we want to do a diff real quick on werewolf.conf and werewolf.conf.copy. And let's just look real quick. What's on each of these different sides that we're going to need? So home, opt, labs, and lab work are all going to be shared out. So we do need to add those in there. And then let me see if there's anything else. We're probably going to modify that one in place because I think we came from, let's see. Let's check versions real quick. 465, exit out. I think this was 464, but I could be wrong. We're on 462. Yeah, so I guess in the big scheme of things, it's probably fine to just do it that way. But Corch said, saw your title and only seen guacamole, thought you were eating street. No. I am going to mess around with some Apache Guacamole here in a little bit because I have that exposed, but I have an older version, so I kind of want to go to a newer version of that as well. And then Moisred YouTube said, been waiting for a stream for ages. How's it going? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good. I'm just hanging out. The wife's downstairs watching a black and white movie with one of her girlfriends, so I am hanging out up in my little, I always joke around about I'm like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I'm up in my little bell tower staying away from everybody. But yeah, so let's go check this. Let's see how Werewolf's set up right now in the system. So most of the things that we want are here already, or most of the things that we need. The DHCP range is going to change, and then some of the other things. So let's cat out our, we'll do werewolf.copy. This is the one that we brought in. And the main thing that I need to add in to make it work the way that we are in the other environment is going to be to, well, you know, we'll just take all of these. We'll add all of those in. And then we need to make sure that our IP addressing scheme is the same because we're gonna move him in place. So we're gonna change that to the right information. And then the DHCP range is the range for booting. This is where it gets a little weird. We're going to use 26 to 49 as the bootable range because when nodes first come up, they get that DHCP address and then they pull their information. When they boot their OS, they get their overlay templates and go to their correct IP address. But you need a pool large enough for the set of servers that you're booting. This actually becomes really important. I work in clusters with well over 1,000 nodes, so you have to have a DHCP range large enough to accommodate all of those. They're like ephemeral IPs. They only exist when the node first comes up for DHCP. Then when the box gets loaded, then he jumps over to his correct IP. It's a little weird, I know, but that's the way it works. Werewolf.conf, right? Let's just go in here and let's fix these paths. So it looks like those ones are already there. So I'm gonna hit O real quick here, and I'm gonna right click, and it's gonna drop these in. And I'm gonna say, okay, home is acceptable, and that is also acceptable. So now the ones that I want to add are gonna be right here. Let's back them up so they're in line, because that's YAML, and YAML, you guys know, is very unforgiving. So we're gonna line those up. Now, when we do this, we need to make dir on labs and make dir on lab work. And when we do that, now those paths are all there. So when we do start up the Werewolf engine, which we are not going to do yet, we'll have that set. The other values we need to change in there are right here. So the IP address for this network is 192, or the IP address for this machine is 192.168.200.26 currently, but it's going to change to 25 when he becomes the main node. And then right here, we're going to change this to the proper net mask, which is a 24-bit mask, or 255.255.255.2, yeah, 0. And I've told you guys that before. Sometimes you have to be able to translate those. That's why it's important to know what those are. Even though you might think, I don't need to know that stuff. Maybe you never do, but that's one of those things where, you know, you could probably throw it in a calculator if you knew how to ask the calculator it, but maybe you don't, right? 168.200. What did I say, 26 earlier? I've already forgotten. I said, what was it? It was 26 to 49. Which will be nice and out of the way. Nobody will be using those, and the nodes only exist on them long enough to DHCP and come up. Once they get their actual IPs, they go drop into the correct space. So what that means there, you know, theoretically, is as long as I'm not trying to boot more than 25 nodes-ish, I should be fine, right? And I won't need to boot more than 25 at a time typically, so there's that. Everything else in here can stay the same. I can move these back up so that there's no weird things. And everything else in here should be fine. Let's go ahead and escape :WQ. There was one other thing that came up in this environment that we might want to note as kind of interesting. When I was moving everything over, it's all going in var lib werewolf. Well, very quickly you see, well, var is almost full, because remember we carved this all up for our, we carved this up to be compliant with the eventual stigs that we may want to apply, so we're going to have to do that. Well, this thing got very full. Not full, but 86% is kind of high for a new box. And he's only got 25 gigs, so if I do want to do multiple images in the future, I'm going to need to modify this. So the way to do that, the easiest way to do that, is just pop over here and go on my Werewolf server here. And we should just be able to give him another disk, right? And it'll be on SCSI. It'll be the same type of SCSI disk as the other ones. And the storage will be in that same lab storage, which is that's actually faster storage, so I'll take that. And then the size of this, let's give this extra one another 100 gigs, even though we're not going to use it all right away. Now, we'll add that there, and we'll pop back over into this box. And if we do an lsblk, we should already see dev SDB sitting there with 100 gigs on it. You guys see that? But it's not going to be in the logical volume management system yet. So I'll do a PVS, VGS, and LVS, right? And we don't see him here in the space, so dev SDB is not given over there yet. Dev SDA3 is what's been carved up and given as the block device here, right? Well, it's a partition on a block device, but all right. So I can say pv create dev SDB. I don't have to partition this if I don't want to, and I don't see any reason to. So I'm going to do that. Now when I do PVS, you're going to see that included there. Then I'm going to do VG extend, and I'm going to extend the R1. Is that R1 or RL? I'm not sure. I think that's RL over dev SDB. We'll see in a second if this breaks or not. And then now when I do a VGS, you'll see that it's extended over 2 disks, whereas up here it was only over 1 disk, and it had used all of its size. Now it's still got the same size, but this is how much is free. Well, the size has gotten bigger. And then when we do our LVS, we'll see that those are still the same size, but we want to target this var right here to get bigger. So we're going to do this. We're going to say LV extend, and we're going to then say it'll be dev mapper. We're going to add some stuff to this, and it'll be RL dash var. That should be the one that we do. And over here, we're going to say go ahead and resize the file system as we do it, and do -L plus. Let's give this one. We'll just round it up for 25G plus 25G. That sounds right. I might have to do a capital L. I always forget this. But yeah, that should extend that. It's capital L. There we go. Now, when we do a df-h, we'll immediately see that as 50 gigs because it resized that file system as we went. And instead of being 80-something% usage, we'll immediately see it drop. See, it was up here. It was 80. Yeah, it was 86%. Now it's immediately down to 44%. So cool. We've extended the file system there, and that's how you do that with logical volume management. If you just think of it as you add a disk, give the disk over to logical volume management, and then you extend a volume group over that disk, and then you carve up the logical volumes from it. Now logical volumes were already carved, so now we were just giving it some of that space in there. That's how that all works. All right, so that's done. We've got that, and we've got more space if we need to. Now what we should be able to do then is, if this is all turned on and ready, what we can do in our home environment is we can turn off Werewolf over there. Now, that Werewolf server is the one that I'm actually jumped into here, so I'm going to probably have to jump out of it. So I'll probably have to jump out of it here before I go turning him off. And then probably what we'll do, let's go ahead and jump all the way back out of here. And we'll probably go modify this box, make him the one, and we'll turn off the Werewolf server in the environment. So down here, we'll actually come here and we'll shut down the Werewolf server. So he's not up anymore. We got to do some other things. We got to do some other things in the environment that'll be kind of weird. We got to VI our root.sh known hosts, right? And we got to go for Werewolf, and we got to cut him out of there. And we also got to go for 192.168.200.25, which is right there. We got to cut him out because we're gonna want to go in there here in a second. And we've turned off the one node. Now we're gonna go move that into the place, and we're gonna do that right here at the console because that's the most guaranteed way that you're in the system modifying the IP addresses. So I know it's small, but this part doesn't really matter that much. It's just setting an IP address, right? Super easy thing to do. CD Etsy sys. Oh, let's see. Sysconfig network. I've spelled something wrong. Maybe I'm losing my mind. Oh, have they completely... Oh, they must have completely done away with that whole path thing. Well, all right, I guess I'm learning something new today about Rocky 10. Let's go to NMCLI then. And there is our interface. And he is 192.168.200.26. We could, you know what, we could just leave him as that. It doesn't really matter. Yeah, that's fine, I guess. No, I'd rather change him, I guess. NMCLI. Let's con show. How do we con edit? No. Interconnection type ENS18. NMCLI. I don't use NMCLI very much. Whoops, con show. Let's see. What are my options? Con modify. And then in here, we're going to modify the interface, which is ENP. What was it? Oh, that's annoying. ENS18. And then we're going to set the settings. Okay, so let's do list. Here's our values, and then we can change the value that we need, which is his IPv4 address. IPv4 address, did I put that in there wrong? Oh, addresses. There we go. Oh, modify. Shoot. I need to go look it up. I haven't done this in a while. Hey, Killbite, how's it going? Colchis, how's it going? Yeah, I haven't done this in a while. So let's look up NMCLI cons modify. There we go. I haven't used this in a while. Or I don't really use this much anyways. There. Oh, it's not equals. Yeah, so I didn't need the equal sign in there. That's my bad. Back over here. I did everything right except I put an equal sign in there. Okay. Now NMCLI, we just do a con show. And now we should see that he's on the 200 dot. Oh, I gotta change him to 25, right? And then we'll do an NMCLI con down. Yeah. And then con up. We used to just do, you know, system commands on this, but that's fine. Now we should be able to go check him and see that he's on IP address 25. The main reason I did that is because now when I go into Werewolf right here, I went and deleted him out of my known host keys, because otherwise you would see a weird error that said, hey, I'd recognize that server and this isn't the right server anymore. But I removed it, so now this will go right over there. Now, let's see if I can get in there as my user. Actually, this guy, I set him up where we can just go in as root. I don't normally do that though, but we can do that for right now. All right, so now we're over here. This guy is 25. Let's see if we can start Werewolf on him. It's down right now. Let's say start. And then check our status again. It's running. Let's see if it's doing the things. Node dash A. There's all the nodes. Right, because we put the nodes in there, so that's good. Let's just do node list. Okay, let's see, overlay list. Okay, all those things are there, or they think they're there. This thing should have its own. Oh, we have not generated. So let's configure all real quick. So it's going to make everything that we need to for this cluster right now. And then when we do an LS, we should see authorized keys are already there. That's fine. Let me see. It says that we have all these. Go back to root. I would have thought it would have made those keys and I would see them right here, but for some reason we're not. So maybe there is a different path for it now. Maybe they put them in. Look and see if there's anywhere for where it might, if it would have put those keys somewhere else. Okay, so real quick, let's do WCTL. Let's check our image list. And here's the images that are there. Image build. Actually, before we do that, let's go look. Is there anything ready to share? So share. And in here, there's the overlays. Let's go into our cheroots. Yeah, these are cherooted, but they're, I don't see the direction. I don't see them built yet. So let's do WCTL image build for, let's do like Rocky Linux 9 real quick. Let's see if it'll build this image. Because see, if it was already built in this environment, it would have said no, that's already there, and it would have told us that. So we're gonna have to build all these. We moved them over there as the individual cherooted environment, but we didn't build them yet. So now we gotta do that real quick. Yeah, and then if anybody's got any questions, just let me know. I'm just kind of working through stuff in the home lab right now. So, and then it's sad the original Werewolf's gonna go away, but you know, we got to move to newer things, and we got to move the servers off of that other environment slowly. One of the other big moves that I'll have to do will be when it's time to, it's eventually gonna take me some time to move the C router over. So C router is the one that sits there in between the two and routes for the VLANs in my environment. So let's see if this works. So let's let this build, and then we also got to build the Rocky Linux 10 environment, because let's go check node list -a for Rocky 4. Let's see what Rocky 4 is doing. He has Rocky Linux 10, so we're going to build Rocky Linux 10 next, right? And the reason we want to build that one is because once this is up, and this is now Werewolf limping along, now we got to test to see if we can reboot a node, because truly none of this works without being able to use Werewolf to control the environment, right? So let's do that real quick here. Overlay. Let's build all the overlays again. See, make sure there's no overlays that are glaringly missing or any of that kind of stuff. And if this is it's in the same exact place and it's doing all the same stuff, we should be able to restart Rocky 4, as he's one of my test boxes. He doesn't sit in where anybody else can get to him, so he's a safe server for me to reboot. I'm not going to kick anybody out of the lab or anything. I don't think anybody's in the lab right now anyways. But I want to see if he comes up and finds the new server. So there's only one DHCP responding, and that's the new Werewolf. So he should boot up right now from the new Werewolf. The old Werewolf's off, so he can't boot from that. But he is not doing DHCP right now. That is a longer time for DHCP than normal. So that's fine. That's fine if that's not up yet. That's understandable. Let's check some things here. System CTL status firewall D. Well, there you go. Stop firewall. Let's not just stop the firewall real quick. Let's go. Let's set it up the right way, and let's come over here and say Werewolf firewall D setup. Let's see what setup we need to do for that, because we're gonna have to allow those services through for DHCP, TFTP, and NFS. So these ones definitely need to be there. And then also the service Werewolf. Let's make sure the service Werewolf is there. So CD to, what is that, var lib firewall D? Maybe it's user firewall. Yeah, in here, let's go to services. More for, is Werewolf configured? Oh look, Werewolf is configured, and it is 9873. So all of these commands will work for our environment. So we need to set all these up. So we don't need sudo. Why would we need sudo? We're already root. So that'll work, and then let's set this one up. We don't need sudo. Kind of self-respecting admin isn't already root. All right. Sorry. So we'll... Those are permanent changes. So firewall. CMD. Isn't it reload? Yeah. So I thought it was... Oh. Oh, there we go. Dash reload. So now if we do firewall CMD and then we look for get div zones, right? Should show me that it's public on ENS, and if I say list zones, I should see, oops, get zones. There's our zones, and then I say get, what is it, list zone, what is public? Maybe it's get zone public. Now we just do help. I always forget. And then we should just be able to show get zone, list all zones. I should just do, yeah, get all zones. Yeah, there we go. We can just do list all zones. And what would happen here then is public would show those things being open. So that's just one way to validate it, right? Now, if this has all worked, which it should have, now when this box goes and boots, tries to get his DHCP, he should be able to pull his DHCP from that server, see that he's Rocky 4, see that there's the image, and then he's not booting correctly. So that's fine. It's possible that, let's see, he's definitely having a problem pulling something. So let's go watch him real quick. He's just stuck in a boot loop, so it doesn't really matter. Doing his DHCP, he's pulling all his info. All his info's correct, but now that path for provisioning is not there, which typically means that something's not there. So Rocky 4 has Rocky Linux 10. We built the image. Yep, says that's current and built. And let's think. The overlays are built, so he's got his stuff built and provisioned. Oh, you know what? You know what might be useful? All his hosts are here. Okay. Let's do systemctl restart Werewolf. I always restart Werewolf after I do all my config stuff. And then let's see, now his DHCP is still going to start, his iPixie should still start, but now he's still not getting the kernel. Alright. So, our other options here are to download a brand new one, right? So we can just download a brand new, so Werewolf Rocky 10 image, right? So here's our node images for Rocky 10. We can just pull a new one down and just test it. So, nope, that's not the one I wanted. Nope, don't want that either. Werewolf Rocky 10 images. I have those. Here we go. Example node images right here. And then here's our Rocky 10. Let's go pull that down. And we got to change the name a little bit because we can't use the same name that we already have. I'll move this down just a little bit too so I can see it. We can't use Rocky Linux 10. Let's just call it, we'll just call him Rocky 10. This will just be a base image that we pull down. Call him Rocky 10. He'll be out of the way from the other ones. Plus, we're just moving it over so we don't really care that much what his name is. We'll just call him Rocky 10. We're going to set that node to be that image, and then we're going to see if we can boot off of it. Yeah, because I mean it's possible things didn't get moved over correctly. There's all kinds of things that could happen. So all right, so that's there. Here's our image list. So Rocky 10, WCTL node. What is it? Node set, and then we're gonna say image is Rocky 10 for Rocky 4, right? For that node. Yep. WCTL node list dash A. Rocky 4 should show that he is set to the Rocky 10 image. We got to do a WCTL image build for Rocky 10 now, so that'll build that image into the environment, and then we'll go through there. Hey Agent, how's it going? Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. New World Andy said more Proxmox tonight. Yeah, so I'm doing Proxmox in that I'm building the system. Let's overlay build for that, and then let's go boot him back up. Oh, he looks like he's just rebooting anyway, so he should now come up. He should see that he's on the Rocky 10 image now, right? And then now there he is. So something didn't copy over all the way. See how he's getting his compressed? He's getting his two things. He's getting his kernel and his init RAM FS, right? So now he's booting properly to the Rocky 10 image. So we're gonna go delete those other images. We're gonna actually, we're gonna delete the older images out of here, image list that we don't need. So WCTL image delete. We're gonna do Rocky Linux -10. Yep. Oh, it won't let me. Oh, actually, I was gonna say it wouldn't let me if somebody was using it, typically in the environment. And the other one is, I think Lab Rocky. That's the one that it's gonna fail, and it says it's being used by these other ones, so you can't delete it. So we now need to set them all over. Let's set them all over real quick to this other image. So let's say test env1 Rocky 10. He can be modified. Test environment 2 Rocky 10, yes, and then test environment 3 Rocky 10, yes, and then WCTL overlay build for them, and then we're gonna go boot these guys up. We're gonna go restart all of them, and they're all gonna come up in the right stuff as well. And when we have these ones done, we are completely set in our Rocky 10 environment. So one of the nice things about that means everything's all up. Agent, yeah, everything's good for me. I'm just hanging out. The wife is downstairs hanging out with one of her girlfriends, and they're doing black and white movie night. They have some old, like 30s or 40s or something movie they want to watch. So I was like, oh, that sounds super interesting. I'm gonna go hang out with all my computer nerds up here. That's what we're gonna do. Let me give a quick rundown because some people were asking like what we're doing around here. Typically, what we do in my streams are I'm telling you guys about the Professional Linux Users Group, which is a group of people who are trying to either get into Linux or most people are hanging out are at least hobbyists, but you're trying to do it professionally. And we try to kind of help you guys push into that admin, eventually that engineering, and these different type of spaces that are out there. Also, Cyber over on YouTube, how's it going? Yeah, I'm here. I'm just looking. I'm doing all this other stuff, so I'm not reading my chat nearly as much as I probably should. But yeah, I'm definitely here if you have any questions. Let's check our environments out. Let's make sure that this thing should be able to SSH2 test environment 3 -Rocky 10, right? And then yes, and then wait a minute. We are having so that's an interesting thing. So hold on a second here. This thing is not. It did not build my keys automatically. So let's see why that is. So WCTL configure, and here's our options here. But when we first set this up, it did not generate our cluster key for us. I saw that it said that it was doing it long ago, but it did not actually do it. So So we're gonna have to set up that key ourselves probably, which is perfectly fine. It shouldn't be too terrible to do. But let's go look at the overlay for that. So what is the overlay that's gonna deal with the keys? It's probably gonna be SSH authorized keys and host keys, right? So let's go look at this real quick. WCTL overlay, and let's list SSH.authorized keys. -A, so we'll see everything, and it's going to push over everything in there, so it's going to give us the authorized keys. So let's look at that one. We have that file right here, this guy. Let's go look at what this is going to render. It's probably just going to inherit the keys that are in there. So include root SSH authorized keys. So if I have authorized keys, that'll be copied over. Let's see what this is doing. Those are just directories, so okay. Let's go see what host keys is doing. That's gonna kick over all of my keys, but you guys might have seen those didn't get generated. So now why they didn't get generated when we installed it, we could sit around and wonder, or we can just go fix it, right? And I don't really want to sit around and wonder. So let's go look at this. Let's go look at this one here, and look at what that's going to be. This is going to be host here. What is that going to do? That's just going to grab that public key for this. So SSH host that key. And then we can also look at and then that's just the generic key. Okay. Why are these all false? That is not way I would expect, but yeah, so we're gonna have to go generate this key right here, and we could do ECDSA, which is the elliptical curve DSA. We can generate an RSA key, but we don't really use RSA keys very often anymore, unless you have a large number of bits on them. DSA, I'm surprised that's even showing up anymore, but ECDSA and ED, the 25519, those ones tend to be the ones that people are using. We can just generate them. I'm used to having a cluster key, so I'm used to it being called cluster key. RSA keys are used for bank cards. Maybe, I don't know. I'm just saying for Linux authorization. Like typically we don't use RSA for that anymore. I think RSA itself is fine. People still use it for signing all kinds of stuff. It's just normally what I see people using for their keying is one of these two, the elliptical curve or the ED. I don't even know what that stands for now. This one? I don't even know. I haven't even ever looked it up. But this is elliptical curve DSA, which just adds more things so you can't rainbow crack it as easy, right? That's all it is adding more entropy to your stuff. So yeah, we can just generate these real quick. So SSH keygen. So what directory are we in? SSH dash keygen. And then we can throw a help on there, and it'll tell us, well, you can generate all these different types if you wanted to. So dash T will give us a type, so we can generate this type right here if we wanted to. And then we can give a passphrase if we want, but it's not really necessary. And then we'll have an output. So really, we just want to use SSH keygen and then dash T and do ed25519, right? And then it's going to ask us, where do you want to save this to? Do you want to save it to the default? This would be the private key name, and then the public key would be that with a .pub on it. That's not the path we want. We need to inherit this right here. So we need to use this right here for our key, right? So the key is going to be root.sh and then that value right there. And then enter passphrase. I don't care about a passphrase. It'll generate it. And now we have the SSH host key and the public key. And then if I VI my authorized keys in here, there is that authorized key. But what I need to do is, and I shouldn't have to do this stuff manually, guys. This I thought this was all going to be generated, but let's more our SSH host. Never show your private key, right? Never. But your public key can be shared far and wide. And here's our public key. So VI authorized keys, Shift G, hit O, right click, escape colon, set number to make sure that that copied on the one line. It did not. So you need to make sure that that's on the right line like that. Escape colon WQ. And let's go reboot one of these boxes and make sure that we can now, WCTA CTL overlay build. Overlay build. It'll build all my overlays for all my nodes. That's important, but right here we can cat that out. Cat that key, and here's our public version of that key. It'll include that file. We're gonna render it for Rocky 4, and it's gonna look like that. It's gonna have that file dropped in, and then the other one is up here in the authorized keys, and now our authorized keys should be that, and rendered for Rocky 4 should be that with that on the bottom. Yep. So now we should just be able to kick this box over, and he'll pull his right configuration. We can ping him as well. Let's ping Rocky 4. So Rocky 4 is 192.168.200.54. Wait, did I kick over the right box? Yeah, here he is. So he's coming up. You download all his stuff, and then he'll boot up. That's what we do around here, guys. There you go. Yep. Man. This will boot up. We'll see him start responding to ping here in a second. We don't have any ignition discs, so because we don't have any ignition discs in the box, we're not carving any of those up right now. And then we're gonna SSH Rocky 4, and we should get right. That is not the way I expect that's right. Hey Kilobytes, thanks for the cheer, and also DB Nick, I think that's Nick. Thanks for the prime. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. Why is that not still allowing us? I don't even know the password for that box. So we might have to. Let's go check. Let's go over here. Yeah, I don't even know. We might have to hard reset that because we just downloaded that. Might have to go hard reset that value in the image, because for some reason that is not taking those overlays. Why would that not take? Where's my... We're definitely pushing that authorized keys over there. Those look like the right values. Nothing here stopping that. All right, so here's how we're going to check it, because I don't know exactly where that's set, but let's go do this. Let's do WCTL image list, and we're going to do WCTL. We should be able to do image del on lab Rocky 10, right? Because that's the one that I just got rid of. Yeah, that should go away. That's weird. Yeah, so the file, I had never built that one. CTL image exec into Rocky 10. we're gonna go set a value so that we know, even if this doesn't come up, we're gonna be able to get into root. So let's go exec into there, bin bash. Now we're in that werewolf, and we're gonna do pass wd for the root user. We're gonna give the root password, because I didn't have it set before. We're gonna exit. It's gonna build that. It's gonna build that image, right? So this image is now ready for Rocky 10, and then wctil overlay build for Rocky 4. So he's gonna have all that right, and we're gonna reboot him. Because what we need to do is we need to get inside of him as he's built out there on that node, as he's pulled himself and come up, to see if that overlay is happening. Because I suspect that overlay is not getting pulled. Because if the overlay's there, that key should have worked and we should have gotten right in. So, oh, you know what? I'm kind of dumb sometimes. Probably because I didn't use that key. So it may be there. I may have just been dumb there. Let's see. I might have just not been using the right key. When he comes back up, let's try it with just his normal. God, I can be pretty dumb sometimes. All right, he's pinging, so we should be able to SSH. And now there we go. When we SSH to him, we're going to use the identity key of SSH host key. So that was already there. So I didn't actually have to go in there. But now that I'm in there, what I would have checked is root.sh, and I would look to see if authorized keys was there, which it is. So that's fine. It's ellipse. Yeah. Don't worry, you're fine. I'm only half paying attention to things, so I apologize, guys. I'm not trying to ignore you. It's just that sometimes when I get into this stuff, I just go. Oh, by the way, I think I've told you guys I'm on call for this week, so I'm just going to be sitting around my computer for the next 2 days, so I'll probably be streaming a lot, because when I'm on call, you know, the worst thing they can do is call me out, but I got to be at my desk anyways. I got to miss a couple of family things, actually, this weekend, so. Now, okay, so this has been booted. This is good. These guys also still need to be rebooted, just because, although, even with them as they are, we could test right now, so I can come here, exit, and I could just go into, oh, I went too far back. Let's go into here, and let's go into one of these guys, so test env1, Rocky 10. Oh, yeah, so that got me right in. So that's been pushed over there. And is that a overlay? Let's look at this real quick from the node configuration. So node list-a for test env1 Rocky 10. And what we'll see right here is, see how it's a runtime overlay for authorized keys? What that means is when those nodes are up, whatever is configured in the cluster as the time for the WW client to pull information, they were getting updated in real time on these two files. Anything I change in the host file and anything in the authorized keys file changes on those systems in real time, provided that they have systemctl status WW client running. They all do by default. If that client's running, then in this case, it's every 60 seconds. I like to configure that down though. It's how often the nodes pull from the cluster. So see the update interval. In high performance compute, when I have a lot of nodes, I change this up to 600. We'll just set it to 600 and then it'll get picked up next time we reboot. But basically, like, let's say you got like 2,000 nodes in a cluster. You don't need them all grabbing stuff every 60 seconds. That is a lot of load in your system. What's better, in my mind, especially if things like that don't change very often, just let them check in every 10 minutes. That's what we're doing here. So every 10 minutes, and it's staggered because it's whenever the nodes came up. So it'll just be every 10, whatever. But yeah, I'm definitely here for people on the YouTube side. We had a question if I was around. I am definitely here. I'm just kind of, you guys see me looking up here. I'm not looking down at my chat. Although I try to keep up on chat. let's go check another thing then in these boxes. So let's go over back to Rocky 4. Oh, whoops. And you gotta make sure you're in the right. We'll just put the whole path on it. Right, then it'll always be right. And let's clear this df-h. Oh, yeah, so now we're back to the part where we gotta add a bunch of things. So df-h shows that there's a couple of things I need to do, which aren't gonna be super apparent, but for people that have been around when I've set up Werewolf before, tempfs is a in-memory RAM-based file system, right? So it's in RAM. Well, if the server, by default, the server can only use half, tempfs can only use half of the RAM in the box. So if I do a free-m, these boxes have 8 gigs in them. But right here, the file systems, which are all shared memory, they only have 3.9 gigs that they know about. Now it's good, they are mounted off of the file system that we expect them to over here, so we do see their different file system mounts coming off of the Werewolf box, so we did want that. But I need to override this configuration here to be able to have the bigger space. Also, another couple things. Let's do IP BR ADDR, so check the IP address and IP route. Let's see if the IP route has the default route like it's supposed to. Yes. So technically this box, if I needed to, could do DNF install ncurses, right, so that it has clear. There we go. So now we've got another problem. So vi etc resolve.conf. Don't have anything. So let's go back out. vi etc resolve.conf. And he does have a name server in here. So let's see why that's not pushing. That should be pushing out to those nodes. So it's www.ctl overlay list. And that's probably going to be, where is he at? Resolve, right? It's probably going to be this one. Right? And there it is. There's our etc resolve.conf. So let's overlay cat resolve. And we'll take this one here. And that's what it's going to try to do. And let's do a render for Rocky 4. And it's not generating anything. It's not doing anything. It's trying to go and grab any values that we might have had here. Rocky 4. And if he had anything in here that was netdev tag, so DNS search would be put in here. DNS search would be dropped in here. So what I can do is, guys, I can cheat if I want. I can just go modify this file and put those values at the end of it, and that would be fine. Or I can put, I can go find DNS search and put it into my configuration here, right? So let's actually see. I'm not sure if that's a common node tag, so we can go over here and look to see if that's a common node tag. So Werewolf nodes. Let's go back one more. It was actually here. They should have all the common tags right here somewhere. Oh, node edit. Let's see what we can. Node set probably. Yeah. Here's all the configuration parameters by default that exist. So I should be able to see, is there a DNS one? I don't see DNS or search. Nope, not in there either. Yep. Yeah. All right, well, screw it. We don't need it. We can do it. We can do it manually. WCTL image list cache. Oops. Note this. Overlay. Oops. And then let's go look at resolve and then etc resolve. Right, and I can add something at the bottom of this if I want. Now, before I do that though, let's cat etc resolve.conf here, and there's my two name servers. So I can just go grab those two guys. Shift G O, get rid of that, and we can just throw that at the bottom. Now it actually tells, does tell me here how I could add those other values. I'm not really super worried about it. Escape colon WQ, and then now if I were to render that for this node, did I not? Oh. That would help if I spelled it right, wouldn't it? I can be really dumb. There it goes. That's what it's going to look like now. So we're kind of cheating. But WCTL overlay build. Just build it for everybody. And then now if we SSH. Right, bang SSH back to Rocky, reboot him. When he comes back up, and we can watch him boot here again, right? The old Werewolf, DHCP, pulling everything, that kind of stuff. Let him come up, and then we'll go check to make sure that he resolves the network correctly. Which he should now. Alright, let him come up. And then I also could pull over my, well, we'll just rewrite the Ansible, but we'll do the Ansible updater that we were writing the other day. And we can update these images before they come up. So here, boom, go in there. Cat etc resolve.conf. He's got those values, so I can ping Google now. And now I will get a name resolution all the way out, because I had the path all the way out. I just didn't have that. Wrigley Mitten, just so you know, I could modify anything I wanted to on that node, but one thing, and this is, let's just say as like a full, we'll just start over for everybody, because I've been running Werewolf for years, but for anybody that's not here, Werewolf makes the nodes boot stateless. So what that means is that node comes up and he doesn't know anything about himself, and he goes and pulls a container image from Werewolf and boots himself up into a full Linux box. Well, what that means is if I go to him, and if I were to vi etc resolve.conf, and I were to just blow this all away, right? Just fucking wipe the whole file and reboot him, that file will come back. That file is going to come back clean every time. So if I were to go modify it on any of my nodes, when the node, I think of it like a little like a trap door. It's like you could be standing on a trap door, and then I go like this, and you're just going to fall, and when it comes up, everything's going to be clean on that server again. So in my environment, I have to go make modifications to either the node image or the image that the node's going to pull, or the overlays. And what I was just doing was updating the overlays. So there's multiple ways to do it. There's I actually asked a question in my little bit of Werewolf training where it's like, well, how would you do this? Would you bake it all up, or would you put it in overlays where you can kind of configure it more on the fly? And let's see, so cat etc resolve.conf. You guys just saw me blow that all away, but now the file's back because it's, again, it went down, came back up with a clean image with the overlays reapplied over the top of it. So yeah, that's why I don't modify it directly. It's the same thing here. If I do a DNF update on this whole system right now, this system will go and it'll pull all the updates, right? It'll even try to update to a new kernel. Look, it's like, hey, I'm going to go to a new kernel, buddy. And I'm like, go ahead. And what'll happen is when we reboot the box, it'll be clean server all over again, back to the original container image, because these changes don't really matter right here. They're not gonna take for real. In fact, they may even cause it to crash if they use too much space. They probably won't though, but yeah. Which is that next part where we get to hardening the lab, and I have the list of I have the list of things that we need to update here, and then I also need to update the. I can actually show you guys here the other thing we need to update. So, where's that at here? Let's exit out of here. I didn't mean to overlay build. Let's do an overlay list, and let's go look at FS tab. Some people call it FStab. I don't care what you call it. Let's do overlay list -A, and now we're going to go look at the actual file. So we're going to cat FStab as the overlay, the etc fstab.ww. That's the template file, and this is the part that matters right here, where we do the tempfs with the defaults. And I don't remember what the settings are, so we're going to go look them up here. But we're going to override the root's tempfs so that we can use the full 8 gigs of RAM, right, that are on the system. And the other ones we can leave as default. So let's go look that up real quick, because I don't remember how to do that. I never remember any of this stuff. So tempfs, let's update, use more RAM, right? Tempfs use more RAM. And it looks like this. So, and then we can set the size to whatever we want. So we can set the size in these boxes to 8 gigs, which is what I want to do. So I'm going to VI my etc. Oh, I'm not going to VI. I'm going to edit that. And now I'm down in here. And just right here, right on the root tempfs defaults, I'm going to hit I. I'm going to do a comma. I'm going to say 8G. Right? So the net effect of that is going to look like this. This guy right here, when I do a df-h, currently his root fs, because it was mounted, here's his root, yeah, his root file system. I'm surprised that's root fs. Yeah, well, that's fine. It is still a tempfs type file system, and it's 8 gigs. But currently it's 4 gigs, because that's what he was to start. So now let's go exit out, wctl overlay build for just Rocky 4. We just build them all because we need them all to be updated anyways. And then we're going to do the same thing we always do, which is kick the box over, and then we wait for him to come back up, because we want to test our changes. Those are where the hell's my ping at? I'll press up 100 times before I retype a command typically. But here he goes. He's booting. He's coming up. And yeah, I know this a lot. Like, so I kind of try to balance for people that have been around, or if you're newer. I try to balance. Some of my streams are just like teaching you guys the basics, and some of them were like I'm going right. Like I'm moving around and doing a lot of stuff. And I will gladly stop and explain anything somebody needs, right? But just yeah, don't think that you guys are interrupting me. I just don't always look down and see things. Yeah, so Wiggly Mitten, the thing is, it's almost like, what do you want to bake in to be persistent? And in some ways you can think of it as like it's persistent, but it's also really fast. And then things like overlays, they're not as persistent. They can be shifting. You can change them and then you can reboot things quickly, but that takes time to do. Like if we're configuring things, or we're but however, I mean, you're talking nowadays in milliseconds, so it's not that big of a deal. But it is when you get into some bigger configurations, and maybe, oh, I got to pull down all this stuff and then you know, configure from like a bigger bit of information. That can be sometimes something that's what we call like a bottleneck, or a what we would call a critical path. So if the boot up of your system takes 5 minutes, but you need it to take 3, we need to cut some things out, right? And in modern systems, we tend to be able to build a server in under 3 minutes if we need to. Once we get this down, we should be able to push a button in the environment or run a script and deploy these. Now, some of you guys that were around when I deployed these are deployed from Ansible, these 3 here. And then now when we destroy them and redeploy these, they will always go pull all their information out of Werewolf every time. So even if all I have to do in Werewolf is go set their node image to whatever my new package is, and it'll go into that node image, and I can boot them all kinds of different ways. This is a really nice way to run a lab. And if you guys don't know, down in our Discord, you guys can get access to our labs if you need. So you come down here, you go into our Prolog lab environment, and I don't even know what's going on here. It looks like people are typing stuff in there. Normally, you just go here to the pinned messages, and it shows you how to get access to the environment. Looks like people are getting in. What's going on here? Let's see what's going on. Yeah, I don't even remember what I was doing in there. This is somebody's example of what our environment looks like. That's what our Bastion node environment looks like. What is he asking? So we got a course book, which is free, by the way. I always try to get ahead of that and make sure people know that we're not trying to charge them anything. Here's the books. Here's the syllabus for the book. If anybody's like, what kind of stuff would I learn in there? I'll link this to you guys that want it. It's right here. It's also down in the Discord, but I'm going to link it for this guy in the Discord as well. There you go. And then that's published by the guys. We got a little writer's room of people that go and build a lot of this stuff. Then we got admin discussions. Looks like people are doing discussions in there. All right, good. People are in there talking. It's always good when people. So we do discussions during our labs or when we're running our courses, and some people might say, "Oh, I don't want to do discussions." Well, you know, you don't have to. Like as with anything, you don't have to do anything if you're hanging out with us. You can just hang out in the Discord. But for people that want to get into this space, the reason I make you guys write. Well, one, I'm a college professor, so I think it's funny, and two, no, the real reason is. You're going to have to present your ideas as an admin and engineer in the world anyways. So it's good to practice getting those ideas out and figuring out your style and how you type and that kind of stuff now where it's just us. And I tell you guys, it's not like I sit around drinking and laughing at stuff that people write. I have better things to do with my time, right? I'd rather be sleeping probably. But anyway, so that's the lab book. If you guys have never seen that, there's a bunch of labs with Linux files, like just everything about Linux. And anyways, that's what we do around here. Let's go back in and say, what did I just update? I've already forgotten. DF-H. Does he have? Oh no, he did not take that. So why is this still? He did not take that change. Overlay build. We edited the etc/fs tab. That's what it's supposed to look like. Let's go. Cat that, right? That's what it looks like. And rendered for Rocky 4. TempFS defaults 8 gig. So let's see what these guys have. No, they always want you to sign up for those ones. I mean, I've done this before, so let's go check Stack Exchange or Stack Overflow. All right, get out of here. Get out of here, cookies. We shouldn't have to change anything else. No, nobody's answered it there. This is typically the way it looks right here. You just drop in defaults, comma. Oh, did I not do? Guys, you gotta stop me. You guys gotta stop me. Size equals 8 gigs. let's push our overlays again, or build our overlays. They don't push, and then reboot the node. Ping him, wait for him to come back up. This is what we do. You think it's funny? Yeah, I think a lot of things are funny. But let me. Where'd this go? Hold on a second. We'll watch him boot up again. We can also, I mean, there's so many things that we can modify in here, guys. There's so many things that we could play around with in this environment, and yeah, this is one of the nice things about it, about Werewolf. Once we get it right, though, it's really easy. You guys just jump into the labs, you reboot things, it drops you back out, you go back into the lab, it's all up and clean. Everything's just set up every time for you. So that's kind of the way I do it. That's kind of my goal with a lot of this stuff, is just have a nice clean lab environment for you guys. All right, let's go check. Should be able to be back in here, and then df-h. And now we've got an 8 gig file system. There we go. Now there's one risk. There's one thing that happens when your rootfs, the root of your file system, is mounted off of all 8 gigs of your RAM. And some of you guys know this in our environment, because if you fill that up all the way, you can crash the box. But it's a free lab environment, so it is what it is, right? Like we go with what we got. But yeah, so now we've got that all set up. Let's reboot these guys so that these guys are as clean as possible, because these are available for the general. These are like general acceptance, or general what do they call that? General availability, right? All right, is this guy rebooting too? Yeah. So they're all going to reboot. They're all going to pull their information. We can tail-f on varlog messages, and we could watch those things pull their information. We should be able to see it in here, varlog messages. I don't think Werewolf has. Let's see. We should see all of those pulling right now. As they come up and pull their information, they should show up in here. I don't see them though. Oh, I'm on the wrong box. That would help. Yeah, we should see them pulling all their crap. That was dumb. We would have seen them pulling their information out of here. We could reboot another one just to see it again real quick. So oops. Come here, reboot. Yep, get out of here. Reboot, and we'll watch him actually reboot. Yep, so here's that node coming up, doesn't know who he is. He's gonna figure out who he is here in a second. We're gonna tell him, and then we're gonna push over all of his stuff for him. Here's all the other nodes trying to come up too. So next thing we need to do is we need to get all of our other environment up and clean. So we've got the Rocky 10 environment up. Now we got to go back and make sure those other ones are good, because I suspect they're going to have some problems as well. And you know, they're the, like, what we would call the older legacy environment, and we could move off of them as well. We could just slowly move them all over to Rocky 10. But let's go check on them. So clear wctl image list, wctl build image build, and let's make sure that we've built each of these for this environment. I don't think I've built any of these ones yet, so let's build them real quick. Should happen under a minute each, so shouldn't take too long. If you guys got questions, let me know. Otherwise, I'm just kind of working in the home lab here, keeping the system going. We don't like doing lab maintenance, but we do it anyways. Most of the time, we just want labs to work, and we just got to get them in the right environment. All right, so automation Rocky 9. I'll have to test the automation servers. we go. I did not Kaizen, but I do have a version of this. I probably could check. I think I updated this just the other day, though. Let's see. 8.46. Let's see if they got an update. They may have like a check for update. Set update. Let's see if there's an update for it. Yeah, let's see if there's an update. Current version. There's newer one available. Let's take it. It'll restart everything typically. Oh. Let's let him come up. I forgot Notepad does that weird thing where it wants to it's like I got to turn everything off and reinstall the whole thing from scratch. All right. Create a shortcut. I use the shortcut down in my tray, but this is fine. Let's run it. Should come up with typically a release notes page. We can see. Yeah, sure. Yeah, sure. Oh gosh. It's all of them. Alright, here we go. What is this? That's an old one. Alright. I have a lot of these stupid things open. Every time I clean it up, I get back to a lot of them anyways, so. Hey, here's our changelog. Is there a vuln? Untrusted search paths. Probably something like that, huh? Yeah. It's probably good. Probably good to update that. I had been pushing off that update for a while anyways, so that's good. Let's go here real quick and oh wow, these are all out of order now. Oh, maybe not. Maybe not. Pop back over here. I know I can do like control in my roller ball, but normally I just go this way. All right. That is not the one I want. This is it. All right. So we built that one. Let's build hammer. We're just going to build them all so that we have them. And then we're going to test that we can boot them. Yeah, that's fine. That's good looking out. It's good to see what's going on here. And then when we're done with this stuff, so the main thing is we can now, the whole reason we moved to a new werewolf is because we couldn't exec from the older werewolf into the newer Rocky 10 images and update them. So you guys saw me go in there and update things a little while ago. I couldn't do that before. I couldn't do that on the other one. So now that we've moved over, it's like we're settled down in something that's going to be compatible with Rocky 10 or Rel 10 in our environment. And then we could start to build new images over here. And we can use this lab for this. Also, I have a few people in the Discord that I've worked with, that have kind of hung out with us for a while, who want to get a little more experience. So they've been telling me they want to be like lab managers. So I'm probably going to give some people access to this lab environment to do lab activities as kind of like the admins, and then they'll be able to go fix things in the environment as well if they need to, which I think will be good for people because they'll get to practice with some of this stuff. You always have the lab environment to do stuff in, and you're root in there so you can do root stuff, but it's also nice to be the person who, you're getting maybe a ticket from somebody and go, oh shoot, that is busted, I can go fix that, and then going and figuring it out in the environment, right? I think there's some value to that. Let's do target Linux 9. And then I think I've done all of them now. Did I do Rocky Linux 9 as well? We'll check that one again real quick too. We're just getting the whole environment up and running, and then we're going to see if we can boot these other nodes and bring them up as well still. And then that'll be the last part of that test then, and then we'll start moving them over. Because again, the original werewolf is dead. We're now all on the new one, so we're just gonna keep running this stuff. I should have probably taken his host file too. That's fine. I can generate the host file for Ansible, the Ansible host lists. I can generate those again though. Oh, and I think he had a cron job that I might want too, but we'll see. This one might already be done. Yeah, okay, so let's check. We've done an overlay build now. We're going to go to my older hardware here, and we're just going to reboot target 5.2. We're going to see if he can come up correctly. And we're going to see if he boots and sees the environment like he should. And we could also grep this for, so we could do tail-f grep for right, target 5. So now we'll only see target 5 try to do the request right here. And does he find the server? Yep, he does. There's his information from Werewolf 5.2. And let's see if he pulls down. Oh, he's having a provisioning problem. That makes sense. All right. Well, it makes some sense, I guess. Let's just build a brand new one. We can build, let me think. Well, we're like this right here. Where's it at?
We'll do it live. Okay.
Do it live.
No. We'll do it live. Fuck it. Huh. Do it live. I'll write it and we'll do it live.
So funny. Oh man, I don't know why it's so funny listening to him flip out, but it's definitely funny to me. Oh, it's right here. Hold on. It's where's my images? Here. We're gonna go down, pull down 6. Oh yeah, I got a whole bunch of these. I just don't use them nearly as much as I should. I've got
because of the implication. Because of the implication.
I love that one. All right, let's go pull down. We're going to have to redo Rocky Linux 9. That's fine. Oh, it's not in use, though, because it's not even set up correctly. Oh, damn it. Let's cd to varlib werewolf. Why is this not? What is this thing saying over here? Oh, wait. They don't have... They all have this in it. Oh, hold on a second. They're all set for that. They've outlined their kernel. They can't find the file. Why can't they find the file? What are they missing? What are they missing? Why? They can't find. So provisioning is done from So here's their images, right? Their images are there. Their kernels are built into... Let's try this. Let's try a shorter version of this. Just like this. So we're gonna do a Rocky 9, just like I have a Rocky 10. We're gonna pull in just a base Rocky 9, and we're gonna set that for our nodes, and then see if we can boot them. We might have to unset the Dracket, but no, that was set. That was there in the kernel. That was... So Dracket is a 2-stage loader that we were using on the other Werewolf. That should still work on this one as well. But we're just gonna pull this down and see. So history grep for set, and then we can set our image. So CTL node set image Rocky 9 for, let's just use that one we were doing, which is target 5-2, right? Modify them. Whoops. There's target 5-2. He's set to Rocky 9 image now. Image build Rocky 9. We downloaded it, but we did not build it yet. So let's build it. Let's push everything over. Yeah. Oh, hold on. Oh, what happened here? I filled up var with 100. Oh, geez. Okay. Well, let's do this. History. Where's my LV extend? We're gonna bang another 106. We're gonna give another 50 gigs. There we go. VAR's not full anymore. I don't know why that's... Isn't that the one that just failed? That's weird. Image build, no space left on device. Okay. And then here, we're gonna reboot this guy. Oh, we're gonna start him. Bang tail. So now it's gonna do the tail dash F against just that one target that we wanted. That node should boot up. Hopefully he just pulls a clean image. Let's see. If there's something wrong here, then I suspect it's because we don't have the Dracket, and I need to go pull some settings off of these servers. Let's see. He thinks he's coming up. He thinks he's pulling his image. Looks like it's at least getting the image. Is he gonna try to do a 2-stage, or is he gonna boot off the 1? Let's see. He's trying off a Dracket because that's how I have him set, and it's downloading. But that may not be built into the one that I just pulled down. I might have to go build that myself, which is common. Let's see. Yeah. So let's pull that off of this node and try it without that. So, where's he at? I didn't do it on this box. I always forget how to do this. So, CTL node set, and then it's tag. Oh, is it tag equals menu? Might be undef. on target 5-2. This is probably not going to work. Where's the tag at? Oh, net tag del string. That's a specific string tag. Where is the... Oh, tag del, and then the name of the tag. I don't need the undef. Oh, 5-2, and he no longer has that. See, 5-1 still has it. The bracket right there. I could re-add it if I need to, but 5-2 doesn't need it. So if he doesn't have it, he doesn't need it, then we reboot. Oops, reboot. All right, guys, I am also, I don't do this very often. I am gonna take a little break. I'm gonna go hourglass, say quick break. I don't know, 8-minute break. That's good. All right, I'm gonna take a quick break. I'm gonna go walk around a little bit. Feel free to watch that server boot. That's what's gonna happen. And we could also over here bang tail again. And then we should be able to watch that server boot up and pull his information. Let's see if he boots. All right, I'm gonna take a little break. I'm taking a break, but I'm still lurking because I want to see it work. Yeah, see, now it's back to normal NNRD, so it should boot. Oh, it's got a different error now. All right, we'll work on that in a minute here. I'll walk around for a second. Stretch my legs out. wife and her friend are still down there talking. I don't even think they've started their movie yet. Alright, what is going on here? So now, I have other things in my image that are probably busted. Put my camera back on. Boom, I'm back. Okay. If you guys have questions, let me know. I'm just running through stuff. I have a feeling. Oh, not Rocky 4. Let's clear that screen. 5-2. I have. I think I need to also remove this tag. Let's remove another tag from this box for testing. And the tag here is ipmi.template. Yeah. Let's get rid of that one as well. Let's rebuild our overlays. Let's do configure all. That sets all of that up. And Werewolf can be restarted. And then let's force reboot on this box. Let's let that guy reboot again. And let's watch him. Let's let him boot up here. But yeah, if you guys have questions, Discord's definitely the best place to ask them. You can also, well, when I'm live, you can ask here and stuff. But if you guys are like, hey, I want to get into Linux, I want to do this stuff more. You know, we're always posting jobs that we see out there. I typically go over jobs and work through things. We've got a few courses that are going right now. They're all free. The one course is finishing up. You could always go into any Discord and see all the events. So Bash Study Group on Saturday. I don't even run that. Colchis does. This is the last week of our Linux admin course. We ran it as kind of a compressed schedule. Only one person's still doing it, but I mean, people are trying. Linux from scratch is on Sundays, so people that want to do that. We're going to start Wireshark study sessions for people that want to do that. What's going on here? All right, I'm gonna have to pull some of that together. And then we've got a Werewolf user group. That's actually the CIQ, the official Werewolf user group every month. So I'm just gonna start posting those there so you guys can go to them. And then we've got a big event coming up in August that we do every year for telling people about the industry and stuff. So that's always there. What is going on here? Well, we can go and we could get shoot, wrong one. We can go back to just Werewolf here, and we can go right in here and go to, should be able to find the most recent releases here. And I don't see the, oh yeah, here's more assets. Yeah, okay. Because we need the Drakit for 9. If we're going to go back to a Drakit build, we're going to need to get this, and then we're going to need to put it into the image. Which is weird, because that should be on the image that we pulled over. I just think the images didn't copy right. Yeah, I don't know why that's doing. We're gonna have to spend some time with that, figure out why that node's not booting correctly now. Because we could just move. Let's test. Let's set him to Rocky 10 for now. Okay. And then WCTL, and then he still sees he's on Rocky 9, so we're going to force reboot one more time. And he should have the right image and all of that, so he should boot just like the other nodes do, but now back on the older hardware. So I'm interested to see, well, one, if we can even boot Rocky 10 on those nodes, if they're going to be able to handle the hardware or not. But let's see. Come on, reboot, buddy. We don't want to force the reboot, but we will if we have to. There we go. All right. Let him boot. He should see the new image that he needs. Right there, he says he's Rocky 10. Right here, if anybody's looking. And I'm just curious to see, will he now be able to provision that way? We're just going to skip over the Rocky 9 problem, because possibly... Alright, so this is all there. Rocky 10. Push over the image. See if it boots. I'm curious. Because technically we could just move the whole environment over to 10. Right, we could just go to 10 everywhere and probably update some lab books and stuff. But big scheme of things, it would probably be worth it to do. Alright. First thing that's kind of slow, but we'll give him the benefit of the doubt here. See how it looks. Pretty slow, and that's not the network. That's just the hardware, because the network's pretty fast. Use trace in my way. Oh, that's terrible. What was I just watching that had, I don't remember what it was. Oh wow, this is gonna be the slowest boot up in process or in history. I remember back in the day we used to have to wait, especially for IBM hardware. Some of that stuff, if it didn't come down clean, would take like 4 hours to come back up, because it would be doing so many self checks and all that kind of stuff, and it would take 4 hours to boot up from base system. Hold on, what's AWS messaging me about? Oh, my iPerf system. Yeah, we have Rocky 10 in the environment now. Yep. But it's I first set it up the other day, but I'm trying to push it back over into my XCP-NG environment, and that's probably not going to work. So it's possible that some of these servers we're going to have to move off and move forward into the Proxmox environment. But yeah, pretty much we've been on 10 in our environment for almost a week now. Yeah, and actually, there was a nice picture that somebody took earlier. They unintentionally did this, but they showed here that when you go into our bastions now, when you jump into our bastions, you get locked into a bastion shell. If you guys have never seen this, this is a bastion shell, and you can't do anything except go to the admin course, go to the security engineering course, go to the automation course, or go into the Rocky 10 test environment. Now, I had the question today, like, well, where's all the lab stuff? Like, what is that? Well, you reference that out of the books that we have, right? Which are free. But the Rocky 10 test environment, yeah, I probably set this up about a week, maybe just under a week ago now. So you guys can go in there and play with those, and those ones will come up. Alright, let that run. This is, man, yeah, if nothing else, that's going to take a long time to boot. And this is, the bottleneck here is on this hardware, on this box. It is not the the system it's pulling from, because I've been able to boot all of them at the same time, so that's not a big deal. This is just really taking its time. Yeah, sorry guys, I'm yawning over here. What time is it? It's 8? Alright. I'll give it a little time. What if I press 7? Yeah. I'm missing stuff. Yeah. Well, let's see if this, I'm curious if this is going to boot over here, because these boxes are much older hardware, and I know it doesn't support the underlying version of x86-64 version 1 that these run. They don't have all the processors. They're older generations of Intel processors, so I'm curious. I think they'll still run, but with limited capabilities, but we'll see. Well, we're gonna see here in a second. When it hits 100, it'll be pretty close. So, we'll see. Yeah, this box has a good amount of RAM, but if the architecture can't handle it, then it might not boot. This one, I think this guy's a 128 box. Yeah, he's a 128. So all these boxes in my environment are all 128. And then the one server that I desperately need to get off this one, he's only 32 gigs of RAM. So he's one that has to be decommissioned sooner than later for sure. He doesn't have much running on him anymore that's important. Hostbox doesn't need to be up anymore. Moodle doesn't need to be up. It's really just my jump boxes, and those ones need to move forward eventually anyways. So this one also needs to get decommissioned sooner than later. All right, let's go check the one thing we were working on. Hold on. Target box, boot up. He's almost there. He's almost to it. We'll see if he goes. Trevor said, "Am I fully shifting over to Proxmox?" For the most part, I'm just kind of doing it slow, trying to get everything to boot up and run the way that I want it to. So I'm pretty close to moving everything over there. Let's see. This is almost done. Let's see if it actually boots or if it fails. I think this should boot with no problems. I can just start moving all the boxes over to it if we get there. The target servers also, they're not going to really be necessary once the automation. Well, the automation course is pretty much done. We did most of it up in Killer Coda. So. Oh, we did have a fail. It did crash. So we knew the disk wasn't bootable. That was fine. Did we see the crash over here? No, we didn't get any kind of crash. We just see that it didn't. We just see that it started over again. I suspect that kernel's not going to work on this older hardware. All right. Well, we'll keep an eye on that. Whoops. We'll keep an eye on that and probably go and start moving more of the things over into the Proxmox so that we can come off of that older stuff. I guess I could also work to get the original provisioning working over here. Yeah, set it back to Rocky 9. While we're waiting, go check target 5. He's gonna still be on his old configuration, but we're gonna see. Let's see, because he has the Dracket built into him, so technically he should boot with no problems. Let's see. Let's watch this one boot. He's going to do the Dracket 2-stage boot, which is a little bit different than normal. Let's see. Target Linux 9, so we see that. But he's not seeing... He's not seeing that kernel. Why is he not seeing that? User share Werewolf. They're definitely there. That's, I mean, it's definitely... Wait a minute. Why do we not see? Let's turn this guy back on, but only because we want to check. We're actually gonna unconnect his. We're not gonna leave his wire or his wired on. I think there's something I'm missing from him. We're gonna go put him. We're gonna change him. We're gonna turn off his Werewolf, and we're gonna move him to 192.168. 200.26. So he's going to become the old one now, just for the purposes of. I want to make sure that I don't have this one other thing that I need. Well, maybe a few other things that I need over here still, because I suspect there's something missing out of here. I suspect that's why this one's not booting. Anyways, let's we'll do this real quick. Don't worry, it'll go dark mode here in a second. Oh, or it should. Should have went dark. Trevor, did I ever deal with BSD jails? Did some reading about the technology comes off as robust and fully formed in respect to what exists. No, I haven't played with BSD jails specifically, no. Might be interesting. I haven't played with them though. Let's see. Werewolf's gonna boot. Don't worry, he's not going into a GUI. He's all command line. It looks like he wants to boot into a GUI, but he's on level 3. And we just wait. Not used to him taking this long. Well, I don't boot my Werewolf server very often either. Okay. We're going to switch his networking right away, though. Oh, really? Oh, it was con edit en x0, and then it was con modify enx0, and then it was IPv4 dot addresses, and then it was 192.168.200.26/24, and then CLI con down enx0, and then con up enx0, and then when we do our IPBR ADDR, he's now on 26. Okay, so he's out of the way, but what I want to do is go check in him var c var lib tftp. So he's got stuff in here. Specifically, yeah, he's got stuff in here that I probably need to get those other ones. Yeah, those are unreadable. Yeah, I can't read any of those. Okay. EFI grub. See, this thing doesn't have any of those. There's no other thing that I should need. Let me compare that to my new ones. Oh, no, they've got all the same. Oh, man. Quiet crash kernel, no. Net. These look like the same basic kernel args. Quiet crash kernel. Net if name's 1. Yeah, that's fine. Why are they different lengths though? That's a weird. Oh, they're more. Okay. The name is shorter. Alright. Let's see what's different. Trevor said jails prevent processes within them from seeing or interacting with processes outside jail. Yes. Network can be isolated at the kernel level. Nice. Jails are considered more mature, often providing isolation without requiring extra tools like SE Linux. Yep. And then ZFS. Okay. No, that's good. Yeah, I know there's definitely other ways to jail than the way that I normally do it, but yeah, that's that might be something to look into for sure. I haven't played with that much though at all, no. I haven't looked at any other jails besides the type that I normally use probably in, oh gosh, maybe 5-6 years now. I probably should start reading up on them a little bit, but yeah, because there's more isolations that can happen for sure. I am looking for what is different here and why these won't boot. Get their devices hard set, but that shouldn't affect the boot. Yeah, why is that not? Why is our system not booting correctly? Why are they not seeing the environment like they should? Alright, well, we can try. Let's see, how's 5.2 set? He doesn't have. I've removed his jacket. Let's go look at 4.2. He still has those values set. So we can set him. We use 4.2 next. Let's go download this other thing we might need. Get that out of the way. TempFS is good. We need this. let's grab that. Okay. And then let's copy Werewolf, drag it into Werewolf roots. Do we want to do target Linux 9? And no, that's not one that I changed. I need Rocky 9. Root FS. We'll go into root and we'll drop it right here. Yep. Okay. And then WCTL exec image exec Rocky 9 then dash, and in here oh, let's just install this stuff real quick. We'll put this into the image and then we'll just install the Dracket. Okay. What's that command for Dracket rebuild? You gotta do. Where's the regenerate? Yeah, right here. You can do it outside of the image, or you can do it. You can do it outside of the image, or you can do it inside of the image. Either way, it'll do it. We're already in the image, so we're just gonna build it like this here. Hey, thanks for the raid, Hackspites. Hopefully this stuff is useful to you guys. I'm not working too hard right now. I'm just in the home lab doing some stuff with Werewolf, and we're moving to a newer Werewolf server. And with that, we've got some of the kind of image panes of, what was that? Was that executing? Should be executing. We're building out some stuff and trying to get the full functionality from the older hardware that we had on the newer stuff. So we're building back to Rocky 9 image, actually. We've got Rocky 10 working just fine. So now we're getting Rocky 10 going. So yeah, we're just doing, we're doing Linux at the end of the day. But I was working in my older cluster, which is a tool called XCPNG. 4 physical boxes, whole bunch of virtual machines, and then we're going over to more of a Proxmox environment. And then we have access for people in the Discord to get down into the servers and do Linux type stuff. Let's see. This is taking a long time to build, so hopefully this is working. Yeah, there we go. Okay. We'll exit that. It'll rebuild that image, and then we're going to set that image to target 4, and then we're going to kick over the box, right? Because they're stateless nodes, so they go down and come up clean. And we're testing history, and we need to set the image of Rocky 9. So we're going to set the image of Rocky 9 into target 4 dash. We'll use 4-2. We're just going to keep going down the line backwards, as it were. Whoops. Rocky target 4-2. So here is the configuration. Now he's set for Rocky 9. He's still got the init RAM FS. He's going to boot to a 2-stage Dracket, but now that's put into the image. I keep doing Rocky 4 target 4.2. Yep, and then we'll go check him. That node's actually up, so we could technically get right into him, I think. Let's see. Could we SH to Rocky target 4-2 right now? Yeah. Give him the old kick over. And we'll watch him here. Where is he at? Target 4-2's right here, so we'll watch him at the console. And we can add our nice little message of the days in again if we want. Those are always available. We can just go generate those if we want to. Yep. But this is what we're doing right here. We're just hanging out. Yeah, I appreciate you coming by. I will not always be on this late, but it just depends. The wife is doing something with one of her friends, so let's see. Let's watch it boot. You'll notice this time when it goes to blue screen, it's going to drop down to the Dracket 2 stage as opposed to just the init. You'll see it right here in a second. All the other stuff's fine. It sees the right image. It sees the thing. It's pulling a version of the kernel. A provisioned version there. You're going to see it again. You're going to see it drop down to one of the last options here. Yep, 2-stage. Not the single stage with initRD because I built that Dracket in there. So now it should download that. This is further than we were getting before, so that's good. And then if this one works, then we can build into this one and make this one officially our Rocky 9 image, right? Then we'll have our Rocky 9 images. We'll have our Rocky 10 image. We'll have everything. We'll have everything done pretty much in the environment. Trauma Hounds. Hopefully this stuff's useful to you. Thanks for the follow. Also Hacks Bites. I know you raided and probably had to run. I get it. Oh, let's see. Is it booting? Better than we had. It hasn't crashed yet. Well, it's older hardware. We know we're going to get weird errors like that. This looks like it's going to at least get to the pre-mount. This should boot. If this one boots, then this one becomes our golden config, and then we're good. This does look like it's going to go over and boot though. So then we're going to have our images that'll be correct if this is the case. Yep. So image list is going to be, it's going to be Rocky 9 and 10. We will clean up these older ones here and pull these out, and Rocky 9 will be our base version for all the Rocky environment that exists, and then Rocky 10 will be for the test and the new environments going forward. So that'll be kind of the way that we do that. Oh, what did I miss? Oh, Hector, how's it going? Hector, you pretty much just lurk and throw bits every now and then, so I always appreciate that. But yeah, this is kind of what we do in here. I will be working. It sounds like it's really windy outside here. But I will be working on cleaning this environment up, because what I want to always have in the environment is backwards compatibility for the people that are doing, for any of you guys that are doing the original courses, right? Because the original courses were written for Rocky 9, and I want those things to be able to stay. But as we're moving forward and doing more and more with Rocky 10 and some of these newer versions of operating systems and stuff, I want you guys to also be able to have an environment for that as well. So we've got that kind of going, and then yeah, we'll move all these systems over to Rocky 9 there as an image, and then go from there. What else do we have? So that was good. We got Werewolf moved over. That was something we were really interested in doing today, was getting everything set up in Werewolf so that we could reboot nodes. Now, strictly speaking, right now we can't reboot nodes. If people reboot all those other nodes, they're going to break all over the place. But basically, as soon as I get this image switched over to all the nodes, it'll work. I guess I could just set that real quick. So let's just do a node list, see all of our nodes. And I can do it like this. I can say that original set command, which is right here. We can do this image set for all of these ones. So we can say auto, and we can go 1 to 5 like this, and he'll be set for those 5 nodes. And then we can do hammer 1 through 5, and then and then we can do, we're going to do a little different for Rocky. We'll say Rocky 1, and Rocky 2, because the other nodes don't exist right now, and 4 is my special test case, so I don't mess with that. Then we can do target. Target's not going to work right, so we'd have to do each one of these by themselves. individually, which is fine. Uh, 3-2. Now we need to fix 4-1. 4-2 we know is good, but 5-1 is not good, and neither is 5-2, so we need to fix all those. And then the test environment ones are going to stay their own. We need to do the auto and hammer rock. Okay, we've done all the systems, so wwctl, overlay, build, and then one of the main things we can do then is just reboot over. Let's go test. Let's go test that like Hammer 5 reboots. Let's go check in real quick. Reboot. We'll watch him pull his config and do all that kind of stuff, and that should be pretty good. While we're doing that, I should tell you guys, we've got Discord. You guys can hang out in there. Everything in there's free. There's only one thing that anybody could pay for, and that's the book over on LeanPub. But you pretty much got to go find that if you want to pay for that. Everything else around there's free. All the advice I give is pretty much free. All you got to do is kind of hang out in there. So we see him pulling his config, right? That's what's happening. On the one side, we're watching the console, and on this other side, we're just watching the logs that are being written as he's pulling his config. And really, we're just doing another test, right? Sanity check, make sure our stuff boots the way that it should. Yep, 2-stage bracket, good. Booting up. Now, strictly speaking, we're gonna lose all of our cool little message of the day files. We'll go populate those later. The main thing is we have the functionality of the labs back, right? Because I want you guys to be able to go in and connect into the servers with no problems. So if I go to like one of the Bastion nodes here, I should be able to get over there. Oh, you know what? Actually, now that I think about it, we may be missing the cluster key. So I may have to redo authorization. We may get like a really broken one of my automations. Let's let that boot and then we'll check. One of my automations over here in the sandbox. This may be royally busted tomorrow morning when it runs, and that'll be good to see though, because then I know I got to go fix that. So there's a key that I'm using outside of the cluster to get in, and I don't think it exists anymore. So I need to go push that key. I could just regenerate a new key and put it in there, but that would work too. Just have to set that for my automations. But okay, yeah, so look, these will boot. They'll come up correctly, which is what we expect, so that's good. That's good. What else do we have for people that got here later? We got a bunch of events coming up in Discord. Events are always free as well. We got Bash Study Group. We got the end of our Linux admin course. This is actually ending this Saturday. We do a 16-week course, but the guys wanted to do it compressed. So there's really only one person still doing that course. We have like 20, 30 people that show up, but only one person's actually participating and doing the discussions and stuff. Linux from scratch is a pretty big one too. That's you can go find that. That's all free stuff online as well. We're going to start Wireshark. For people that have never used Wireshark, will be TCP dumping out of an environment and then looking at the files. And this is really for people that want to go get that certification. Well, let me back up. This is for people who may be interested in the information around the certification, but don't necessarily want to pay $400 for it. So this will just be, it'll be our little study group. And if anybody does want to go take the test, cool. I don't think I'm going to take it because it doesn't really benefit me any, but for people that would bolster their resume, I think they should do it. And then Werewolf user group, this is for the official CIQ Werewolf user group, but this just reminds you when it is. Also, the times are in my time, so when you look at it in your Discord, it'll always show it in your time, which is kind of nice. And then our big annual conference, we've been running the group for over 12 years, but we're just saying officially 12 years. And then we've been on Discord, it'll be 7 years when that goes. So those are all free. things for you to come hang out. I have a lot of speakers from around the industry that are going to come to that. Some of them are in Fang, or what you guys call Mang now. There's people all over the place. A few of them have doctorates. A few of them are in active roles in the military doing cybersecurity stuff on missions. So people come and talk about all kinds of stuff in those courses. So, or in those lectures. They're all fun. They're all free. So, yeah. So Hammer booted. I should be able to SSH into Hammer. Just SSH real quick. All of my stuff should work over there. Yep. Now, we didn't get the cool message of the day, but that's because we haven't split out the images yet. Also, now that all the images are set, let's do this. Node list -a grep for image. Oh, no, I'm in the wrong box. That makes sense. Right? Okay, so only Rocky 5 didn't get set, right? So let's go set Rocky 5, because Rocky 5 doesn't exist right now. Okay. Alright, all of our images are right. So now we can go rip those other ones out. However, before we do that, we can go save their message of the days. So if I were to, let's cat var lib werewolf, var lib werewolf cheroots automation root fs etsy motd. There's the automation one, right? So what I might want to do, so if I wanted to save these all, I can say copy that into root and then just say like motd automation, right? And then I could do that same thing for Rocky. And then over here, the only difference would be this would be, they're all named right there. So Rocky Linux 9. And then the last one that we would need is Hammer. Is that right? Yeah, Hammer. And rest of the day, Hammer. So now, if I cd to root, if you guys have never seen all of our messages of the days, we can just cat motd dot, and it'll show you those were our different messages of the days when you went into the different environments. So now we've just captured them in case I want to go push them back down into the new images. I normally call everything that's not prod dev, something like that. And actually in one of the, well, I have a few, I have like over 100 labs that are out there, but one of the labs in Killer Coda, we push these, and the official reason you're pushing them is because people have been making, errors in the environment. So there's that. Strager, are these events all on Twitch? Yeah, Strager, I have a lot of stuff. I was showing people earlier. No, actually, wait, no, I apologize. Let me take that back. You were probably asking about these events. No, actually, the reason I don't save a lot of these to Twitch or have these even on YouTube, I do have some old ones on YouTube here, is I find people are much more candid if don't, if they're not being recorded, right? Because some of the guys that are coming here, I'll actually show you guys the full list here. I put it in conferences. This will be a little break for a second. I apologize, guys. But this is the talks. I'm going to talk about, I've got a talk I've done it a few years now, called Why Engineering. And I just start from like the basic building block of what an engineer does and just walk through the pieces. And I started out as a networking engineer, so like communications, and I start with the individual components of like how we communicate, right? The 5 pieces of a simple communication: a sender, a receiver, a message, a medium, and noise. Oh, that's 9 a.m. Arizona time. So for anybody east of me, it's going to be later in the day. But when this gets closer, these will be set. I'll put them in as individual events. So like if you want to come see me, Kushagra, I don't really know him, but he's got a book that he wrote, Thinking Like an Attacker, Practical Linux and Cybersecurity. So we're going to give him a shot. I don't actually know that speaker, so I'm hoping he's good. Burninator, I know personally. He's a major in the Space Force. I only tell you guys that because he's told you guys that before. And he does a rel security session around STIGs, which I talk about STIGs all the time, but people just glaze over when I do it. When he talks about, they're like, he's a major in the Space Force. He knows what he's talking about. My buddy Jared's going to come and talk about data analytics. Jared's been doing that for a long time. He works for a big web data company. They're multi-billion-dollar revenue now, so they're a big company. And then we're going to have late night hang out and talk about the industry. I think there's going to be like Jackbox games, and we're going to do some prizes and stuff for people that want to hang out. King Buns is always good. He speaks at Clojure. So, Clojure is a programming language. Some of you guys are programmers. And he actually speaks at their annual events. So he's a Clojure guy. He's really big about structured programming and stuff. He's very technical. He's a lead over at his company, a lead programmer. So he's one of the software engineers. He's very good at what he does from what I've seen. Stovepipe's going to come and talk about RHCSA. He's got a GitHub on RHCSA that's pretty popular. So that's often up in the Discord. Sending Grounds works with Fang or Mang, whatever you want to call it, and he's got an excellent talk on systems engineering, and he's moving over into like AI and doing a lot of that stuff, and he's talking about how he stopped worrying and loved the bomb. So his stuff's good. He's been with his particular letter of the alphabet, and I'll let him tell you guys when he's here. He's been with them for 10 years, which is a long ride in that company. 10 years at one of the Fang, you're really grinding and stuff. So he's pretty solid. Also, he's probably one of the experts in our Discord about Bash. He's really good. He does systems engineering mostly in Bash. He runs some pretty low-level cloud stuff that touches everything in the world. Like I'm not even saying that figuratively. I mean literally, his stuff runs everything in the world. So in his big cloud provider, which is a pretty big name. Dr. Matsuri is going to come in, talk economics, technology, and AI usage. I call him Doctor because he just got his doctorate a couple months ago. He's a good buddy of mine. And he's going to come talk economics. He is the chief AI architect for his company as well. So he's got some pretty cool stuff. I've seen some of his work recently. His dissertation, he has it published, and then on the page where it's published, there's a little chat bot that will walk you through any questions you have. So AI chatbots aren't hard to build. People build them all over the place and they're all crappy, but his is tuned directly to his data, and it's pretty well reasoned on that kind of stuff. Frederick is a SANS speaker, so he speaks with SANS.org. Internationally, he speaks all over the place, and he's going to talk about zero trust models with a tool called Spiffy. So Spiffy is a model of how we do zero trust, and he literally wrote the book on it. He's one of 15 contributors to that book, which is called Solving the Bottom Turtle. I'd link that all the time. And then just more talking. If I need to, if I get anybody else that volunteers, like let's say Strager tells me he wants to talk, I'll open up the lunch sessions. So I typically give people time to go for lunch and stuff, but then people are coming to these from all over the globe, so I'll just run them right through lunch. I don't care. Now, because for me, it doesn't really matter. I'll just sit here and eat lunch, and they'll just talk. And for most people, like if you're in Europe or in Asia, this is going to be way different time zones anyway, so you don't care either. So, yeah, and then we expect, typically at these talks, we have a few hundred people come through. We have almost 5,000 in the Discord now, so we will typically, over the course of those 2 days, have, hundreds of people will come through and stuff, so that, Strega, that's okay. I think you're still, to this day, the only person that's given me like actual feedback on my Ansible labs, which I've built so many more labs now in Killer Code, and it's still one of my favorite things to tell people about. But you actually like gave me like GitHub feedback on it, which I really appreciated. So that was kind of good. And I'm not trying to ignore anybody on Twitch or YouTube. I'm just kind of going through stuff. And so what we did today, if we were to recap, is we took Werewolf off of my older hardware. Right, so this is my older hardware. I have 4 physical boxes that sit on, man, some of these boxes are 10 years old, right? I bought them like, years ago, and they were old when I bought them. They were like being decommissioned from companies when I bought them. So they're older boxes, and they couldn't support the newer versions of images that we needed to for Werewolf. In fact, as just a quick example here, we were over think this is one that has it. And we were running commands like, no, not in here. I think it's hostbox 2. We were running commands like this, and this is on the new hardware. So when we do this, we see, x86 64 version 2 is the only one supported. We don't have the version 3 or 4 supported. We needed at least x86 version 3 supported, so it wasn't working. And then over here we found, oh shoot, went too far down. We went to Proxmox and we looked at our actual Proxmox system, and we went in the shell here and we said, can this system handle it? And we looked here, it's actually right here, and yes, this is supported over here. So we had to move Werewolf off of my older physical hardware that we actually couldn't exec into the images for updating Rocky 9 images. It was too old. You know, old cheap stuff. Everybody's always making fun of me in the Discord about having old stuff running. So now our Werewolf environment, which we've updated, he can run that. So he is now able to go exec into those boxes. So use Ansible for deploys and new projects all because of you. Nice. Yeah, Strager, I would tell you the best person to follow for that is definitely what is his name? I almost said Linus Torvalds. It's not him. It's oh god, why can't I think of his name? I got all of his books, and I saw him at Ansible Fest in like 2018. Jeff Geerling. Jeff Geerling is the guy to follow for sure, and he comes from a background in programming like you do. He comes from he originally was like a Drupal coder, and then he's written like, at one point he was like 80% of contributions into Ansible modules or something. I don't think he's that high anymore, but at one point he was like just writing everything for Ansible. And some of you guys from my background, I started using Ansible in 2013. Not just because it was some new tool, it's because I worked in a federal environment, and in the federal environment we weren't allowed to use keys everywhere, and we couldn't log in as root everywhere. Because you might say, well, okay, so you can't use keys and you can't use root everywhere, so you can't just like jump in from. So what I would have to do is I would use Ansible and I would jump in as my user, and Ansible has this ability to become or use different methods of sudo. I use sudo, most people do, and I would sudo up, so I would go as my user into, I had about 950 boxes to maintain, and Ansible would allow me to jump over, become root, do my work, drop down and get out without having to do it. And back in the day, we used to just loop over scripts and stuff, but you'd still have to put in your password each time then, right? Even though it was not echoed to the shell. But that's a mess, and Ansible's just fantastic for that stuff. So I wasn't like trying to be in there early because I was some early adopter. I just used it because it was the best thing for me easily. So that's good. Oh, Strager, that I think it drops everybody. It doesn't link things, so I might have to. Normally, what I do is just say throw it in Discord and I'll pull it up, but just depends. That's what I normally do. If somebody has something they want to show, just drop it in Discord and I'll pull it up. Well, it'll be my risky click of the day. But yeah, so we downloaded, and for people that missed it, the way we got that image to work on this box is we had to go into Werewolf here, right? We had to go to Werewolf. We went to the new version that we had just downloaded, and we put the Werewolf Drakit for Enterprise Linux 9 because we had to build it into that image. And the way we then did that, for anybody that missed that, we were here, and all we did was we dropped it into the right place. So let's do history, grep for Drakit. You'll see that we just copied it over from right here down into the cherooted environment. Then we went down into the image. That's right here. So we exec down into that image like this. I just didn't want to write it all out again. And then in here, we installed it. Right, so let's just look at it. And there's that Werewolf Drakit. And then, and I don't think, yeah, the history's not there. Then we just built that. And I went and looked up how to build it because I never remember these commands. The build was right here. User Drakit force, no host only, add wwinit regenerate all. That's the command you need. if anybody ever needs, if you ever need to do that, just ask me in Discord. I'll show you guys how to do it. But I'm just stealing things from all over the internet because I knew what I needed to do. I just don't ever remember the exact commands because, you know, my brain's not as good as it was when I was in my 20s and 30s anymore. So that's how we got the environment up. Now I'm going to exit, and it's gonna rebuild that container. But if you're ever in those containers and you don't want it to rebuild, you know, you're like, I don't want to make any of those changes. What you can do is you can always just do a bin false or just false, and it'll drop it. Yeah. So, all right. What else do we got here? I'm probably gonna get off of here soon because I know the wife and her friend should be done. But yeah, you guys are definitely always welcome to hang out in the Discord with other people that are doing Linux. On the YouTube side, you guys have that in the I don't know, description or whatever. It should be right there underneath whatever you guys are looking at. Yeah, but let me show you guys real quick. If you don't want this to build, you just say false. And what that does is it gives you an error code, so you don't have a good return code of 0, right? Return 0 is always good in programming, right? Like we returned with no errors, no messages, whatever. So if I were to just say like true instead, that would exit with a good. And whenever you exit with 0 for your return code, and then you leave the shell, if the last message was good, then this thing will rebuild. But if the last message or the last return code was false, then when we exit, it'll say, nope, I'm not building. I'm not ready to build. And this is one of the things I always tell people. This is I had to learn this the hard way, what I'm about to tell you guys. If I'm down in there in that, and that is an imaged environment, so I'm really just ch-rooted in there, or ch-rooted, however you want to say it. If I make changes in there, and then I do a false and I exit, those changes are still truly there. They're just staged and not built. So this is where people get in trouble. Well, not in trouble, but this is where you'll shoot yourself in the foot, because then later you'll come in and you'll do something else and you'll build it, and that's like a bunch of stage changes. You guys can think of it like, you guys that use Git a lot, it's like having a bunch of stage changes, and then when you go to do this one, it's not on a different branch, so it just brings everything forward, and those other things are not tested and they're not ready. That's basically what's happening inside of these containers. I'm sure they're working on making that better, and I'm just going to tell you that it's one of these things where this is not a rollback. Don't think like, hey, I made a file, I touched Etsy no login, but now I'm not going to put it into the container. Later on, when somebody builds that container, well, we don't call them containers anymore, we call them images. Later, when somebody builds that image from a container, that is going to go in there, and then you're going to be, you're basically just like holding like a guillotine over your bed, or guillotine, however you want to say that. And one day it's going to fall. I would rather just not have that over my bed, right? It's the same thing here. If I do something like that, I'll just pull the file out, or I'll undo my changes, and then I won't, and then the saving, whatever you save won't save. So something to think about, because that is an important thing to think of. You are actually changing a ch-rooted environment when you do this command here, even if you don't build it, because building sets it up for provisioning to the servers that are under it. So, all right, but I'll probably drop off of here, guys. I appreciate everybody coming by. You know, I like working through the home lab and then having you guys hang out with me, because then I can, you know, show you guys stuff, and it makes me think of stuff. But yeah, I definitely appreciate you coming by too, Strager. Because I used to always enjoy your stream. I hadn't seen you on for a while, but I will definitely be hanging out when you're around. So yeah. But everybody else, just feel free to hang out in Discord. You guys can always find me on there, always ask questions and stuff. But yeah. Well, that's okay. We still like it when you kick it, Strager. So as long as you're hanging out, and I do appreciate everybody. So all right, we'll talk. Take care.